Hi everyone, today we are going to learn about RC's most important questions that you can actually see in your papers. They are very much out there and plenty of times they become quite tricky. So today what we are going to do is we are going to start with it and we are going to work upon it and see where we stand. So we are going to cover title, theme, structure, tone and function. When I say title, what am I actually talking about? So we are talking about something which is going to be, let's see. So title is anything that would be talking about how I can write down a heading, right? It's almost like a heading. So title can also be called as heading of the passage, right? So whatever it is talking about, what is it actually telling us in one or two, like it has to be incomplete sentence, it has to be few words, and it would tell us everything about the whole paragraph, right? The other is theme. What exactly is theme? So when I talk about the theme, it is basically nothing but it is the elongated form of the title, right? So whatever the title is basically is going to talk about a short form of the whole passage, while theme would be talking about the whole thing in a single line, right? So theme, purpose, main idea, they are almost like alienated, they are associated, right? The next thing is about structure. So when I say structure, what are we actually looking for? So sometimes the paragraph, the RCs are written in this way that it would be talking about maybe a chronology, right? What is chronology? Chronology is basically something that happened in the past, then it moved forward to present, and then finally came across to future, right? So this can be a structure, right? Sometimes it also talks about some kind of cause and effect, right? What do you mean by cause and effect? So cause and effect would generally talk about some kind of something that happened and what was the effect of that, right? So that would be called as cause and effect, right? So we have got title, we have got theme, we have got structure. What is the next kind of question we would have? We would have tone. What is tone? So tone is basically how the author is emoting. He might not even emote, which means he might not even show any kind of emotion. Even that is a tone, right? So it can be the person is just providing us with information, right? So he would be informative, or we can call him as neutral. Okay, he's not taking a stand, right? He might be indifferent about the whole thing, he's just telling us as it is, right? And sometimes he's very persuading, he's very provocating, right? He's aggressive and all kind of emotions that we can think of, so that comes across in the tone. So we can call it as emotions of the author, right? Fine. What is the next thing that we have? The other part is the function. Now when I say function, what are we actually looking out for? A function would actually be talking about something to do with how that sentence or word or paragraph or passage working, right? So how is it working? How is it working in the paragraph, right? Or the passage. In other words, we can also understand why the line or the statement, the sentence was written. Fine. So these are the kind of questions where just facts are not going to work for us. Out here, we have to have a kind of thought process. We have to read between the lines to understand what exactly they are trying to tell us. Okay. So without any further ado, let's move ahead. Let's see what all we can learn from these things. Okay. So plenty of questions out here. We are going to see the first paragraph coming up across here. So what does the passage say? It says, in recent years, the gig economy. So my mind, it says that gig economy, the story is going to be about gig economy, has emerged as a powerful force in reshaping the traditional job market. So what has happened? Gig economy, it has grown, okay, has emerged as what? Powerful force in reshaping. So what is it doing? It is reshaping something, the traditional job market. Okay, fine. So gig economy, it is about the job market we are talking about. Fine. So we need to also understand that these are the keywords and where the story is heading, right? Freelancers, rideshare drivers, and delivery personnel are now common figures in urban economies. So we are talking about urban economies in specific, and we are talking about people like freelancers, right? Okay, or they can be ride share drivers, the cab drivers we have, right? And then we have got the delivery personnel, okay, the Zomato and all that stuff. They provide you with the they deliver the commodities at your doorstep. So these are your delivery personnel, are now common figures in urban economies. Okay, fine. So this is the new thing that has happened. While this offers workers flexibility, so what is happening out? This gig economy, the freelancers and everyone, they are getting what? They are getting flexibility, and companies reduced costs. So in this case, the companies, what have they done? They have reduced the costs, right? So it is cost efficient somehow, flexibility for the workers, and for companies it is the cost, right? It also raises concerns. So out here we see the story is changing, right? What is he asking? He's saying that some kind of concern is also there. Okay, it's not very lucrative. There is some problem out there. Many gig workers lack health benefits. So what happens? The gig workers, they don't have any kind of health benefit out here. No job security and retirement options. So they don't have any kind of retirement options. They don't have any job security, and definitely no health benefits that a permanent uh, worker would have, right? Okay. Critics argue. So who are the critics? Critics are the one who are against the gig economy, right? Argue that the gig model exploits labor. So critics, they say that it is exploiting the labor by circumventing labor laws. So what is this circumventing doing, right? So many of us might not know what is circumventing, but always remember, because it is written in this way, it would be very easy for you to actually catch hold of the word, as we have seen in earlier class, that the vocabulary which is used in the RC will always be, you know, contextual, and that's why it is not necessary that you have to know the word prior to that. Okay, fine. Let's see. So by circumventing labor laws. So labor laws, are these being upheld or not? So it is circumventing it, and it is exploiting labor laws. So therefore, circumventing is definitely somehow it is finding the loophole. It is finding somehow to stay away from it. Fine, from the laws. Proponents counter. Look at it. Important part. Maybe you don't know what is the meaning of proponents, but then again, it is written proponents counter that it empowers workers to choose when and how they work. Fine. So, who are proponents? Are they against? Are they critics? Or it is just the opposite? So, it is just the opposite. So, proponents are the people who feel that what is it? Again, the gig economy. It empowers workers, right? So it helps workers to choose when and how they work. Choose when and how they work. So that is how it is helping these people. Governments worldwide are grappling with, so they are grappling with how to regulate this rapidly. So what is it? Have they come to the solution? No, they have not. They are still grappling to it, which means which means what? That they are not really sure how to fight or how to work upon this kind of an economy, right? How to regulate this rapidly evolving sector without stifling innovation. So they don't want any kind of innovation to go, they don't want to remove this innovation because this is something new and it is being used for both the finance as in freelancers as well as for the company, right? So in that case, how is it that we would not stifle it, we would not remove it altogether? We'll keep the innovation, but then again, it should be helping everyone, right? So they are trying to regulate it as well. So the whole part is clear to us. It was easy to understand. Let's see what kind of question we would expect. What would be the most appropriate title for the passage? So let's see. First one, traditional employment versus freelancing. So it says traditional employment versus freelancing. Is it about traditional employment versus freelancing? Um, Actually, no. It is actually talking about plenty of other things, like government is trying to do something about it, and moreover, it is generally talking about gig economy, not only about freelancers. So it is very, you know, this is very specific. Fine. So that's why A part cannot be used. Let's go to the B part. The rise and challenges of the gig economy. Yes, of course. Rise, it has emerged as powerful force and reshaping and all that. So it is actually rise. And the challenges, where are the challenges? The challenges as in the critics, they are saying that it is not providing with the proper help, and the labor laws are getting circumvented and other stuff, right? So that's why B part can definitely stay for the time being. Let's keep it. Go to C, urban job creation strategy. So they never talked about job creation strategies out here. Rather, we talked about something which is already present out there. So C part goes away. D part, regulating innovation in technology. It is totally out of scope, does not work at all. So let's move it. The right answer is B. See, as I told you earlier, that elimination is always a big tool. You can always use it for the betterment, right? Okay, so the question is clear, I hope. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is, what is the central theme of the passage? Now, the central theme, as I said, that it is always going to be somehow aligned with the title, right? Keeping that in mind, let's go A part. It says limitations of freelancing as a career. Is it the central theme? No, because we have both critics and proponents talking about it. Where do we find that word? Yeah, proponents, right? We had both of them talking about it, which means that we are not going to see that it is only going to be about limitations of freelancing as a career. This goes away. Let's see the next one. Government failure to regulate labor. Are we actually talking about that government has not been able to do so? We are saying that they are still grappling with it. So they are still thinking what is to be done, how it is to be regulated. Does not mean that they have failed. So this is going extreme. We'll not use it. Pros and cons of the gig economy. See, remember, title, theme, they're almost talking about the same thing, right? If we go back to the previous question, what was it? The rise and challenges, right? So rise is pros and cons is like the challenges. So they are actually associated. So what would be the right answer? Pros and cons of the gig economy. I can keep it and I would take it. D part says how technology created new jobs. So again, definitely not in our scope, not to be used. D part goes away. Easy. Let's move ahead. So when how we do, we just grow with this slowly and steadily, and then what we do, we start working and we take more difficult passages and start learning, right? So this playlist is actually going to help you. When you go through each session, you would see that dramatically the changes would occur, right? Let's see, what is it? What is the tone of the author, right? What is his tone? Is it critical? Is he saying like, no, gig economy is wrong or something like that? We cannot take that, because it was the critics who were saying, and then again he gave across the idea of the proponents as well, which means he's putting across both the sides of the coin, which means he cannot be critical. If he cannot be critical, I can also not call him supportive. Why? Because he's not also supporting the thing. He's just telling us, he told us about the gig economy, how it is emerging and all that. Then he's talking about what the critics believe, what the proponents have to say, and still there is an issue that government do not know how to regulate it, which means he's not supportive, right? Is he sarcastic? Is he passing any comment against it? Is he mocking the gig economy? No, goes away. The answer has to be neutral. He was neutral. He gave us both the sides and he was analyzing as well. So that's why the answer will be neutral and analytical, right? So the question done's easy. Yep. Let's move ahead. What is the structure of the passage? So now the question comes across, structure of the passage. Is it chronological? I told you chronology is always talking about some kind of time related thing. It never talked to us about some time that is changing across and other stuff, right? So we cannot have this thought process, right? Next part, let's move in. What do we have? It talks about problem solution. Is it actually a problem solution thing? Is it telling us about the problems and the solution? Solution is something we need to work upon, but still we'll keep it for the time being. Okay. But then again, the problem was there, solution has not yet been given. So we cannot really say that it actually works upon something like problem and solution, right? C part says compare and contrast. So he's comparing, critics are saying something, proponents are saying something, definitely it is compare, and he's contrasting them as well, right? So I can keep that. Cause and effect. So what was the cause? The effect is not very clear. We really don't know whether it is actually a pro or a con. So that's why we cannot have cause and effect out here. So that's why this part goes away. Okay. Chronology was not there, goes away. And then we have, sorry, we are not removing this. We are removing D part. C part is still there. Problem and solution and compare and contrast. So because we don't have a solution out there, the only option that is possible is C, because it is telling us about both the pros and cons, right? Compare and contrast. See, this is the best part about, inference-based questions or subjective questions. Because when you read between the lines and once you catch hold of the structure, the theme, so many questions are working on the same line. If you look at it, compare and contrast, talking about pros and cons, talking about your analysis and different, the contrast was there, right? Pros and cons were there. Compare and contrast is there. So all of them are in the line, the title, the structure, the theme. So these questions, if one is done, for sure, the rest could easily be done, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next question. What is the function of the sentence, many gig workers lack health benefits? Fine. So is it to introduce a counter argument? Let's see. That the gig models exploits labor by circumventing labor laws, lack of health benefits, right? Lack of health benefits. Now this part is written. What is it actually working? Is it acting as a counter argument? But there is no argument before that, right? So therefore, we cannot have this as my answer, right? So A part goes away. B says to support the main point with data. The main point, is it giving us any data? No, definitely not. So data is not working for us. B part goes away. C part says to highlight a drawback. Definitely. Now, if I look at it this way, what is it doing actually, this sentence? This is only telling us it is not going against gig economy. It is not telling us that it is a good thing or a bad thing, but they are just telling us that there is a drawback to it, right? Which is clearly mentioned in part C. I'll not remove this right now. D part, let's see. To summarize the entire argument. No, it is not summarizing at all. So D part goes away. The answer is C. See, these questions are actually doable, right? All you have to do is you have to be a bit, you know, uh, analytical, okay, observant, perceptive, and of course, at the end, you should be able to eliminate, and your work is done. Understood? Fine. So, keeping that in mind, let's go to the next one. Which is the next one? Okay, a new passage now. Let's see. Effective leadership in the modern workplace. So, this one is about leadership and how we can make it effective, or maybe effective leadership, something to do with that. In the modern workplace is increasingly defined not by hierarchy but by influence. Okay. So, again, the changes in the modern workplace. What is it happening? Leadership is more about influence and not about hierarchy. Fine. So he's the boss. That would be hierarchy. Influence is, yeah, he's a good guy. Whatever he says, I listen to him and things of that sort, right? That would be more of influence or something. He motivates me, he's engaging and things of that sort. The traditional model, so this one is talking about traditional model in which authority dictated compliance. Authority, the boss, fine, dictated compliance. Dictated means what? It's almost like he's ordering around, right? He's bossing around, fine. Compliance is agreeing, fine. So he's making everyone agree to whatever he has to say, fine. Is being replaced by a collaborative style where leaders inspire rather than instruct. So now what is happening? It is almost collaboration means what? A teamwork, right? So it is moving towards teamwork where they are trying to say they are not going to instruct anymore. Like this is what you have to do. They would not do that. Rather, what would they do? They would actually ask them, they would inspire them, they would provide them with food for thought, and maybe provide them with different kind of ideas so that they can start bridging their things and they can uh, come to a decision themselves, right? And the rise of knowledge, where are we? Okay, rather than instruct. So what is changing from instructions to inspiration, right? This shift is partly driven by flatter organizational structures and the rise of knowledge workers. So what is it happening? Flatter organizational structures. So what kind of organizational structure? Which is flat, not like plenty of drop downs, okay? And the rise of knowledge workers, okay, who value autonomy. Autonomy, what does it mean? So we are talking about something to do with collaboration and other stuff. So autonomy is where everyone has their own individuality, they have got their own individual worth, self-worth, and they are working on it. They are using that as a tool for the growth, right? Emotional intelligence, adaptability, and clarity of vision are now seen as critical traits in successful managers. Fine. So, now what do they want? They want a manager is considered to be successful only when he is emotionally intelligent, he has adaptability skills, he can adapt to situations, and clarity of vision. Okay. These are critical traits. Critical traits in this sense, critical would mean something which is a prerequisite, right? It is quintessential that people should have this kind of a thought process. However, this doesn't mean authority is obsolete, which means, so as soon as I read, however, I knew that we are going to talk about in a different realm altogether, right? Which is going to be contrasting. Okay. So what is it? They say like authority is not uh, obsolete. Obsolete means what? Over. Fine, it is not over yet. Authority is still there. Rather, it must be balanced with empathy and communication. So he says, the author says, rather, we have to come to a middle path. Authority has to be balanced with empathy. Empathy means what? When you are concerned about people, right? And communication, where we are actually speaking to people and trying to bridge the gaps. All right. After reading this, let's go back. What is the best title for the passage? So let's see what can be the best passage. Um, it is saying hierarchical structures in corporates. Can this be my answer? Definitely not. this cannot be my answer. Why? Because it is actually talking about hierarchical structures. Of course, they talked about structures, the hierarchical structures, but it was not that we have like we are going to talk about hierarchies and how they are structured and everything. So definitely out of scope. Emotional intelligence and office politics. Emotional intelligence they did talk about, though it was not the whole thing. And overall, it is also talking about office politics, which was not discussed. So B part goes away. C part says the evolving definition of leadership. Yes, of course. What are they saying? That in modern world it is changing, right? And we are evolving. So clarity, vision, success, leaders, dictated, collaborative. Okay, fine. So the traditional model in which dictated compliance is being replaced. So something, an evolution is coming across, right? So that is what it is being talked about out here, the evolving definition of leadership. So this part can stay. Why modern employees resent authority? Resent. So this is like resent. Resent means they don't like. Is it because of this that they have come across with collaboration and they are inspiring and all that? No. So D part not working. C part definitely the right answer. Fine. Okay, question number 2. What is the central theme of the passage? Again, because we were talking about the title, so this part can come across and help us, right? Question number 2. What does it say? What is the central theme of the passage? Leadership through emotional blackmail. Just because they said emotional intelligence does not mean that we emotionally blackmail them, right? So this part is definitely not the answer. So many a time what happens is like when I do these questions and I look at the options given across and I actually, I cannot stop myself giggling or laughing because what in the world were they thinking when they made these kind of options, right? Okay. B part, benefits of decentralized power. So benefits of decentralized power, what does that mean? Where we decentralize the power, it is not in the same hand, it is not in a single hand, it is going across in different uh, among, like it is getting divided among different people, right? Benefits of decentralized power, are we actually talking about decentralization of power out here, or we are saying that the leader has to come across and he has to inspire, not rather than instructing? Fine. But it is not saying that decentralizing of power is happening. Fine. So no, not possible. Evolution of leadership from authority to influence. Now this is like, yes, I can actually see it. Now if I was a bit confused with B part, but now if I keep B along with C, it is a, like it is for certain that C has to be the right answer. B cannot be the right answer. D part says structural changes in corporate culture. So we are not talking about like corporate culture is changing and people are doing that, that every leader has changed or something like that. So no, not. Fine, the structure is still the same. The people are changing. Their style of working is changing, right? So that's why which one is a better option? The answer is C part. Okay, let's move in. What is the tone of the author? Okay. Is he cautionary? Is he appreciative? Is he objective explanatory, or is he opinionated? Right. So the thought process out here is he cautionary? Is he, so if he would be cautionary, he would be actually alarming us. He would be making aware of certain things. No, he's not making us aware, as in aware in sense of beware, something, be careful, something bad is happening. No, he's not talking about that. A part goes away. Appreciative, he's not really appreciative. He's just saying that this is what is happening. Fine. He's not saying that, yes, this is the best thing to do and now everything is going to be nice and rosy. So no, B is wrong. Objective, he has just come across with an idea or maybe a topic about which he's talking and he's explaining the whole thing. So objective explanatory can be an answer. Opinionated, when I say a person has opinions, he would actually show like it is a good thing or a bad thing, which was not definitely written out here. Not appreciative, not cautionary. So when A and B both are not there, in other sense, opinionated cannot be my answer. The answer has to be C, objective, explanatory. Fourth question. So what does the fourth question say? See, you can see if you read intent, if you read with intent, fine, forget for some time, when you are practicing, when you are making your base, it is quite important that you should forget about speed reading. It should be more important that you should study so that you learn. Because if you learn, you can do more questions without actually going back to the paragraph. You would not be needing any kind of regression. It would be easy for you to do those questions, right? So keeping that in mind, let's come back. Let's do question number 4. What is the function of the sentence emotional intelligence adaptability are now seen as critical traits? Fine. So this is the sentence which is given across to us. You need to look into it and see how do we talk about this. Fine. What is it doing? Introducing a new counter argument. Is it actually giving us a counter argument out here? So first of all, let's see where is it written. So maybe this question you have to go back so that you read a line above, a line below, or maybe the whole thing again, a certain part of it, so that you can make it out what exactly it is talking about, right? So let's see. What does it say? Introducing a new, and this was emotional intelligence. Let's see where is it. Emotional intelligence. Yeah. Emotional intelligence, adaptability, and clarity of vision are now seen as critical traits in successful managers. How is this statement functioning in this paragraph? Is it introducing a new counter argument? But as we don't have any argument before that, it is actually just objective. So therefore, A part cannot be the answer. So let's see. B part says providing examples of effective leadership traits. Definitely they are, because they are providing us with this idea that emotional intelligence, adaptability, and clarity of vision, they are the ones which are needed in uh, a successful manager, a good leader, right? So I cannot remove this. C part, what does it say? The C part says contradicting a previous claim. But what kind of claim is it taking away? Is it actually doing so? So we don't know anything about that. Whether it is contradicting anything or not, right? A previous claim, was there any claim out there? No, definitely not. Actually, C is almost like A, so C part goes away. D part says summarizing previous points. It is not summarizing at all. The answer has to be providing examples of effective leadership traits, how they have to work, right? Okay, let's go to the next question. What is the structure of the passage? Is it general to specific? General to specific. Did we start with a general idea and we ended up having a specific idea out there? No, nothing like that. Was it a definition, example, and then there is a contrast? Okay, I cannot remove B right now. We'll keep it. Why? At first, they talked about uh, a good leader, right? An effective leader, the changes in them. Then they gave the example of all these things that are needed in today's successful managers. And then there was also a contrast where we said, however, this doesn't mean authority is obsolete. So we were contrasting out there. So I can keep B. C, historical overview. So we are not giving any kind of historical overview out here. Definitely it goes away. It cannot be general to specific as well. D part says sequential narrative, but there is no sequence out here and it is not a storyline. So therefore we can easily say that the answer has to be B. Fine. So we finished 2 paragraphs out here, and it definitely would help you to build your pillar where you would actually reach out to the point where you can easily go through these questions and you can be sure that you would be 100% accurate in your answers, right? Let's move on. Let's see what we have next. So this is your another paragraph, a paragraph I would call it. Fine. Let's see what is it about. Let's see. Corporate social responsibility, which is CSR, right, is no longer a mere public relations strategy. A mere public relations strategy. So previously, most probably, CSR was used to create a public relation. Fine, it was a part of the strategy. But now it is no longer like that. It has evolved into a strategic imperative. Strategic imperative. What is imperative? Imperative sentences. We have heard of that, right? So what are imperatives? Imperatives are mandatory, something which is important, right? Has to be there. Firms that integrate social and environmental concerns into their operations enjoy enhanced reputation. So we are talking about firms that integrate social and environmental concerns, right? So any company that would also be talking about what? Social and environmental concerns, right? Into their operations enjoy enhanced reputation. So their reputation increases, right? Stronger consumer loyalty. So what increases other than reputation? Consumer loyalty also increases, right? And even financial gains. And they also have financial gains, right? However, skeptics, again, skeptics, if you don't know what are skeptics, you know that it is coming after however. And what does it say? Skeptics argue, which means skeptics are the people who would be what? For or against. So they would be against, right? Also called as critics, yeah. Argue that CSR diverts attention from the profit motive. So they say that CSR, the activities done under CSR, they're actually diverting the attention from the profit motive and leads to inefficiencies. So the people who are into like any kind of a big company, a firm, if they are thinking about CSR, what is it that they are lacking behind? They are lacking behind in their profit motive. Find their motive to earn profit, it lessens, right? And that causes inefficiencies. They want that idealism in business, idealism in business. So their direct attack is on idealism on business itself, right? So that idealism in business can be dangerous if not tied to tangible outcomes. Tangible, where we can actually make money out of it, right? Okay. Yet, successful firms like Patagonia and Tom's have demonstrated that ethical behavior. So, this time we can actually say there is argument and then counter argument. Yeah, you can see this now. Fine. With by using example, we are saying that these companies have demonstrated that ethical behavior. So, if you follow ethics, and profitability are not mutually exclusive. They are not exclusive. They are actually same. They are, you can also gain reputation as well as profits by ethics, right? The debate continues as stakeholders demand both responsibility and results. Fine. But the debate is still like we really don't know whether the CSR is actually helping in both ways or not, right? Because all the stakeholders, they demand both responsibility. So somebody has to take the responsibility that yes, CSR is going to be helpful. They have to own it, right? And results. So they also want results that yes, have we grown in the reputation, have we grown in profits or not? Fine. Okay, keeping that in mind, let's see the first question. What is it? What could be the most suitable title for this passage? Why CSR is a waste of resources? I can clearly remove it because at the end we are saying that it is still a debate and we don't have an answer. So we cannot outright call it as a waste of resources, right? Goes away. Ethical branding in the age of capitalism. Wow, this is strong. Fine. Ethical branding. Fine. So we are branding ourselves with ethics in the age of capitalism. So this is basically nothing to do with capitalism or something like that. It's talking about business, right? So whether a business works or not by using CSR. Fine. So this is going very heavy on this. So that's why B part we need to remove. C part, CSR, a strategic necessity or a flawed ideal. And this is what was happening out here. The argument, the counter argument, and then an open question whether it is going to work or not, right? So therefore, CSR, a strategic necessity or a flawed ideal, can be an answer. D part says companies that give back to society. No, so this would be only talking about CSR. The last part, like Patagonia and Tom's, they have done pretty well. And so D part is very specific. We cannot have this. The answer has to be C, right? Okay, let's go to the next question. What is the central theme of the passage? So, of course, it has to align with whatever we did previously. CSR as a trend in branding. Okay, trend in branding. Can this be my answer? We never said that it helps in branding, right? It actually talks about you can get reputation and other stuff, not as a branding tool. So A part goes away. CSR as a double-edged sword. Let's go back. What was it? A strategic necessity, so positive, or a flawed ideal, flawed. So necessity, flawed. Talking about both ways, right? Keeping that in mind, if I go across, a double-edged sword, right? So it might be helpful or it might be painful, right? Okay, so I can definitely keep B part. The future of business philanthropy. No, we cannot call it as a future because the debate is still there. C part goes away. The inefficiency of of ethical practices. We really don't know whether it is inefficient or not because it is only the skeptics, the critics who have said that it is inefficient, not the rest. And therefore, the answer out here is B. Easy, right? Good. Let's move on to the next question. What is the tone of the passage? Is it highly critical? Definitely not. Balance with examples. Examples were there. Balance, of course, both arguments and counter arguments have come across. So B, I can not remove. Celebratory, definitely not. It is not celebrating anything. It is not appreciating anything. Dismissive, it is not dismissing anything. It is giving us the facts as well as other points, examples. So it is not dismissive. D part goes away. The answer is balanced with example. As you can see, when you start doing these questions, what really happens when you have done somewhere around 2-3 questions out there, right? After doing 2-3 questions, that the engine has actually warmed up now, right? And now you can go about and do more questions with confidence, right? So of course, I'll keep on upping your the kind of questions you would do, the pattern, the degree, the paraphrasing, the vocabulary, everything. So it is going to grow up and up, right? But yes, if we go in a scheduled manner, in a sequence, in a planned manner, I assure you that your language, your RC will never be a problem for you. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. What is the structure of the passage? So the structure of the passage, first part, it says it's argument, counter argument, and resolution. Okay, should I keep it as an answer? Can we? Can we? Of course, we can keep it because the first part was there was an argument, right? Here, skeptics argue. This was the argument. And then yet successful firms like Patagonia, this is your what? Counter argument. And then the resolution is, what is the outcome? That the debate is still continuing. We really don't know which one is right, right? So I can keep this. B part, description, okay. Historical context. Was there any historical context? No, nothing. So historical context is not working. B part goes away. C part, contrast between small and large businesses. Definitely not the case. Data, argument, critic. No. Critic was actually the argument. Counter argument was, yes, there were actually this thing. So D part goes away. So answer is A. So it is an argument, then there is a counter argument, and then we have a resolution. Easy. Let's move on to next. The function of the last sentence is to. What is this last sentence about? The last sentence is the debate continues as stakeholders demand both responsibility and results. Okay. keeping that in mind. Okay, even this kind of question can be there. They would not write the actual sentence out there. They would simply ask you what is the last line talking about, what is the first sentence doing that, okay, what is the middle passage, third passage, or third paragraph functioning as. Okay, so is it about question the entire premise of CSR? No, it is not, because there is still a debate happening out there. They don't want to say like, okay, fine, CSR is wrong. Okay, B part says conclude with a summary. Is it a summary? No, definitely not. Reiterate the tension between responsibility and profitability. Yes, definitely. See, between responsibility, this is our responsibility, and the results as in the profit, right? So reiterate means what? Talking about the same thing again, right? And this is what was happening. In this part, there was an argument. This was the counter argument, and then we reiterated the same thing, right? So definitely this is something we are going to keep. D part says present a call to action. Definitely not, nothing. We have not come out to a decision, an outcome. So how can we say that we are ready for a call to action? Definitely the right answer has to be C. Reiterate the tension between responsibility and profitability, right? So with these questions, I'll leave you so that you can revise, analyze that how you would be able to do these questions, right? So until next time, I would come across with more questions in RC and more type, because there is critical reasoning is there. Then there are other type of questions like inferences and implications, strengthening, weakening, assumptions, plenty more out there for us to do. But definitely this playlist is going to help you a lot. Thank you very much. Until next time.